Well, hello and a very warm welcome to a special interview on Let's Get It On with me, Suzanne Letting. Now, I've got a very special guest in the studio, and I know I say that all the time, but it isn't very often that I get the chance to speak to another radio DJ, another female artist, but she isn't just a DJ. She's got a whole host of things that she's been up to. One very busy lady. Let me introduce you to the wonderful Malissa Whitehouse. Melissa, hello.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on.
Now then, young lady, you've done, I don't know how you are so busy and keep up with everything. You've got a whole background that we need to try and talk to and let our listeners know. So I think it's probably better in your own words. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Malissa Whitehouse. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm also, as you just said, a radio DJ as well, which has been in the last couple of years, quite a new area for me. I've been a singer-songwriter since I was 16 years old. I've written for some fabulous people, from X Factor to The Voice. I've had some amazing opportunities over the last 3 years as an independent artist. I've had 4 singles out, and here I am with yourself today to tell you all about it. So yeah, it's been an eventful few years.
Since the age of 14 you've been writing songs, haven't you, for a host of people. So can you tell us who you kind of written for, Melissa? Is that allowed?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course. To be honest, it started off in my own journey with publishing. So I was actually signed not on a publishing deal, but on an artist deal with a publisher. That's not the norm. Normally it's a record company. So I had an opportunity to go for an audition, and I went and I did well and kind of got shortlisted, and then I didn't actually get down to the final person. I was told afterwards that it was for somebody called Marshall, who was an artist in America at the time, who was looking for a female artist to work with on collaborations. Little did I know that it was Eminem. And he was obviously looking for his Dido, which unfortunately she was further down the road and a little bit older and kind of doing more kind of things than I was at that time. I'd literally just come out of college, so I was all naive and a little bit kind of crazy with kind of like jumping into the music industry. And then from that point, I got the opportunity of working with Paul Mosul and Kevin Hughes. So that was my first kind of collaborative work process of being in a publishing environment. Paul Mosul has kind of worked and written people like Cliff Richard, Mistletoe and Wine, and some great tracks also for bigger artists that were kind of doing lots of the kind of European kind of tours and things through Sony Records. So that was a really big start for me. Then I got the opportunity to go and work with Tony Matthew from Soul to Soul. So we discovered a wonderful artist called Tinder Hicks, who basically I was working with Caroline Main, which was right at the very beginning. Then it was Tony Matthew from Soul to Soul, and then I got to work with another writer called Nikki Baines, and she'd written for some fantastic people. So it was a very small kind of like openings, but the focus really, I wanted to be an artist. I didn't at first want to really write for other people because I was solely keeping my tracks for me. It wasn't until further down the line that I started to realise how many songs I had, how many different genres I was writing for, that I opened my own production studio with Tony Matthew. And then I wrote for an array of brand new artists that were coming through. One in particular called Emily May, who was absolutely fantastic, a great R&B singer. And then as time went on, I had a great connection with Daniel James, and worked with him on a great track that went forward for Steps. It unfortunately didn't make the album, but we went through the process with Fascination Management and Records, and it was just amazing to actually trying to get into the artist's head, but at the same time the management needs and how a record company wants to execute a project as well. That was a challenge for me, because sometimes you write a song and then you think, oh, what journey is it going to go on? But when you're writing it to a spec where it has to sound a certain way for an album, or how it's going to be kind of performed, or it's going to be danced, or you have to think of so many elements. So that was a really good opportunity for me. And then as it went on, I got the opportunity to write for Kalon Ray, which was amazing. Kalon obviously had a great profile in The Voice and X Factor, done very well out in Europe, X Factor, and then The Voice for Tom Jones here. So that was one of my first bigger artists to write a track for, and that was just wonderful. But at a time when unfortunately I had an accident and literally didn't know if I'd make it to the studio or not. So Yeah, it was a real challenge, a real challenge that time, but I managed to get the song done, and it's opened so many doors. So I'm very grateful for that
The
opportunity.
business of show, as we say, and particularly the music
Yeah,
industry, is a particularly hard industry to cut your teeth into. And coming from the publishing side,
yeah,
first of all, rather than, as you say, a singer-songwriter, because so many amazing artists out there never get their work heard, do they? And they never get up the rung of the ladder where they're beginning to be self-sufficient financially. Um, what advice would you give
absolutely.
new and
Yeah,
aspiring artists today when there's so much out there trying to get their voice heard?
yeah. Well, I think there's around, somebody was saying the other day, it's around 40,000 original tracks are now released through the platforms, which is hard. Even interviews like this today, to have this kind of spotlight is just fantastic. I think you need to kind of be as individual and stand out as much as possible, think out of the box. I think it's really important self-promotion, making sure that you do kind of keep on top of your socials, etc. But I think from a writing aspect, write and collaborate with as many people as possible, and don't do what really I did at the beginning. At first I was a little bit, not guarded, but you kind of think, well, if you've got a gem of a song, you'd like to keep it for your own profile. But at the end of the day, if there's an artist out there who is further down that road selling X amount of thousand or million units, and you can get your song heard or sung by them, then that is the best thing that you can do, by basically sharing your works and creations and working in a team environment. That's one thing that I would say is a definite. Succeeding in this industry, you're only as strong as your team. It's not about any individual solo artist or group that you see. They have a massive team behind them, and it's a working kind of process to get that end result. That's advice I would definitely give. And I think the other thing, looking at opportunities as well, creating a vehicle for your music. One of my recent signings with Peer Music was for a TV show that I've been working on for the last 7 or 8 years. It has been a labour of love. It's like trying to give birth and the baby's not arrived yet. It's kind of being made as we speak, literally. Goodness knows what the labour's going to be like, but it's just kind of like, it's been amazing. And it's also been something that, as an artist, I think when you do have a creation, if it be a song, if you're writing for TV, if you're writing for an artist yourself, sometimes you go through a process where you write a song and you think, that's it, it's done. But then you go into the recording studio, it's been left for a few months or a year or even longer, as we do as writers, and then you revisit and then you end up with something even stronger. And I think as I've got older, I've now learned that learning your craft takes time and patience. And sometimes people go, oh gosh, don't you wish when you're in your 20s you had the success of other things you're doing now? Yes, at the time I would have said, yeah, absolutely, I don't want to miss the boat. But sometimes I realised I didn't have the life skills to succeed of what I'm doing now. And it's all a process. So if you want to get into this industry, I think you've got to have real strength, you've got to have real tenacity, you need to be determined and able to take direction. You are going to get quite a few knocks, but I've always taken them knocks as positive things to rebuild, diversify, look at new opportunities. Yeah. And I learned so much from Nigel Elderton at Peer Music, who signed me. And I went into that office 3 times and he said to me, it's great the music you're doing, but at the moment we're not looking for that type of artist. I was like, oh, okay. What type of artist are you looking for? I'll mould myself into that artist. It doesn't work like that. You have to, yeah. He said, if you can find a vehicle to carry your works, that's a good thing. And I'm thinking, what kind of vehicle?
Yeah,
and I ended up writing the television show, did the soundtrack, and he said, genius idea, it's absolutely great. And then I managed to get my deal. So I ended up opening an opportunity by creating the opportunity.
Yes.
It was just something because someone else had done it and I was going to ride on the back of the towels. So I think thinking out of the box, and so many of, I wish now I knew what I knew when I was in my 20s.
Don't we all?
If I could all go back, I know. I think to myself, gosh, I make a phone call and then I'm reliant on that person that they're going to make that phone call for me, or they're going to do something. You call again, have you sent my demo, or have you done this? Yeah. Sometimes the only person that can make it happen is you. You have to you can rely on you. It's not saying you can't rely on anyone. You can, of course you can in this world, otherwise we wouldn't be where we are. But it's so important to be driven and to do it yourself sometimes, and not think that you have to have a record label, you have to have a publisher. So many people are making it happen from their own bedroom studios. And even some of these big stars that you think have got these major labels, etc. behind them, most of them aren't either kind of signed anymore like that, or are independent or self-funding, or it's very different to what it used to be.
I think the music industry's changed, hasn't it? Because most artists now are a little bit more savvy about their creative works, and labels and the publishing rights and all of those things now are getting tighter. So the artists are being able to retain most of the royalties that they're getting, and they've got more direction and control. But it is a full-time job.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I've literally not slept for the last. That's why I've got dark eyes at the moment. It's just like it's a long day. I wake up very early in the morning, and obviously you're being a business manager, but you're trying to be a creative at the same time and doing your best works, and then you have to front that. So there are quite a few plates to spin. A lot of people think the industry is very glamorous. It can have its moments. Great when you're backstage and there's makeup and all those things going on, and I say the illusion, because there is just so much work that has to be done. But I wouldn't change a second of it. But you have got to be on top of your game to kind of get these things to go forward and to work. And one reason why I've gone more, even though the other tracks that I've worked on, I've written in so many areas. I've got an R&B album that I've just done for somebody. I've got kind of K-pop tracks, real commercial pop radio tracks, right the way through to film sound tracks and scores and things that I've been working on. But it's trying to find areas where you can push your songs. Film at the moment is an area I really want to explore, and that's something and why over a lifetime my current single came about. But again, a completely different, I'd say the word animal, to anything that I've done before, because the way I've had to broach it, even though it's been a single that's been released on all platforms, it's just the way you work it and the doors that it's starting to open in different areas, instead of it just being the radio or the magazines and things, reaching to publishers, talking to creatives out in America, in Europe, people that are writing for TV, that kind of thing. That's been really I've really enjoyed it, really have.
Well, we're going to listen to one of your tracks now, Melissa, because I'd like to talk to you about your voice, because the genre bit is very evident in the songs that we're going to listen to today, because they are all very, very different, and they all sort of cross over different genres. So let's have a listen to Over a Lifetime. And this was released, was it about a month ago?
It was, yes, on the 3rd of April.
Okay, let's have a listen to that, and then we'll be back very shortly, because I want to talk to Melissa about her voice, but also AI.
We've all done something in life that was crazy. Took a moment and broke a heart. No excuses, no words, I'm sorry. Can't make amends, the world just fell apart. I can't do this any better. I made up my mind. We can't keep fighting all the time. Days will go, emotions pass. The moment shatter like broken glass. Over a lifetime. How do I live without your kiss in the morning? Just an empty space by my side. Every memory comes calls me in the dead of night. I can't do this any better. I've made up my mind. We can't keep fighting all the time. Days will go, emotions pass, the moments shatter like broken glass. Over a lifetime, I've made up my mind. We can keep fighting all the time. Days will go, emotions pass, the moments shatter like broken glass. Over a lifetime. Over a lifetime. You were the love of my lifetime.
So, Melissa, your voice is very, very rounded. I mean, from sort of the lower tones all the way up through to the high tones. Were you trained to sing, or is this just you doing what you do naturally?
I did do theatre school training when I was about 14, but no other training from there on. I literally, when I went into the girl group, we used to kind of do singing lessons as a collective together, the three of us, and then that was kind of it. So in honesty, I can't claim that I've been very well behaved with training, to be honest. It's something that I must admit, I was talking recently to Skylar Jett, whose show that I featured on, who obviously stood in for Lionel Richie with the Commodores, and he obviously, the direction of talking about vocals and things, just said every artist can get better and stronger and all the different twists and turns, but it's something that I would definitely like to start spending. Now I've got a little window of time, small window, to concentrate more on myself at the moment. That'll be wonderful to start looking at that a little bit more, because I don't think I've even touched the surface.
No, your voice is incredible. I mean, if that's a natural voice, then, you know, I don't think you need to do anything more with it, because it's just so beautiful to listen to. You've got those rich tones all the way through it, and it's a natural voice. And that kind of led me to ask you, what did you think about AI, both in terms of songwriting, and obviously I know that a lot of artists sometimes do bring in AI voices because sometimes they can't get a singer to sing their songs that they've written. So this is a whole jumble that's happening in the industry at the moment. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, personally, I'm not very happy as an artist. I think I have actually come up against a few challenges over the last few weeks. Somebody did actually reach to me and said, you know, I'm in a situation where I've got a great profile to basically get my song into a very good marketplace. And I was like, okay. And they said, would you be willing to come and front the song that is an AI track, but obviously you can sing it and be at the event live, but obviously they do like the AI version. And I said, but that literally puts me out of a job, because at the end of the day, you'll use me and pay me for that moment of my time, but the rest of the journey is going on something that is synthetic, that doesn't exist. It's an AI, it's robotic in that regard, which they understood. And I think from a working composition, if you're working and you haven't got that vocalist or you can't vocal yourself, what a great way for creativity. I'm not against that. I think what I'm against is it actually making performers, real people, redundant in the industry of something that we have got such great creatives, and it's a small enough pool of people at the moment that get through the door. By bringing that to the forefront, it's just literally going to crucify the creativity of humans. And I do feel really, really strongly about it. I think it's wonderful that the way that they put all these things together and how clever it is, but I think using it rationally in certain areas. For example, a radio show, sometimes you can't get that jingle. It's late and you think, great, I'm going to do this feature. It would be great if I could have a jingle feature. That's fun, that's an element. But again, if somebody's a really good voiceover person, relying on their local radio station or something to have that job,
yes,
again, it hinders.
Yeah.
So I really think it's a real bitter...
It's a muddle, isn't it? We've created a muddle for ourselves, I think.
We're not making life easy, I don't think, as human beings. I think, there are times I go back to when I was younger in the 80s and the 90s, early 90s. There was a simplicity to achieving things. Success nowadays is valued on how much money you earn or what car or what house, and there are so many successes that you can achieve within this industry, but it's just how we all evaluate things. I think the world, sadly since COVID, has gone a little bit mad. So yeah, I am concerned to see where it goes in the next 10 years, to be honest. I just hope it's not a runaway train, in honesty. Yeah,
I think when you're of an age, growing up 60s, 70s, 80s, all of that lovely music that was created by people who were original. It's very hard to find original artists today, I think, that are so passionate about their work, which is why we try and support as many independent artists as we can. So talking about some of your work now, I mean, the Prince's Trust, OK Magazine, Universal Records, Capital Radio, MTV, all of these places, I guess when you were 14, you never envisaged all these doors would open in the way that they did.
Oh, no. Do you know what? Somebody gave me a secondhand Music Week directory. Do you remember when it used to have all the names of everybody? And I used to be one of those annoying people that I would randomly call up and say, can I do it work experience? I was always relentless with things, so I needed to find a way to kind of break through that door. So that was really the starting point for me, really. That directory was I remember going to see, I didn't actually get to see Simon Cowell. It was, I can't remember if it was Fanfare or BMG or something. I was meant to go up and have a meeting based on some of my demos. And I think it was somebody, going way back now, somebody called Jamie Nelson or something that I ended up seeing. And it opened a door with my music. And he said to me, send your demos off to as many people. And that's exactly how the journey started. I sent my first one off to Capital Radio in London. They done their X Factor type competition at the Euston Tower. And I remember going there, auditioning in front of Chris Tarrant and 3 other people that I didn't know that were part of the Capital Radio kind of management team, I think, at the time. And out of 10,000, got down to the last kind of like 15. Then it was 8, and then I got down to the last 3, and we performed at the Piazza in Covent Garden. And that was amazing because I literally went into school that day and they said, I've got to leave early because I'm going up to Covent Garden, I'm going to be on TV. And I just remember feeling $1 million and treated like an absolute kind of pop princess. It was amazing, everything on TV, everyone going, wow, and just having that moment, felt like you'd achieved something so big, even though it was, I won't just say just a competition, it gave you that profile. And I never looked back from that moment, because literally I thought, well, it worked sending that, and literally was the cassette and the big envelope. I did it a second time, sent it to the director of The Word on Channel 4, which I remember my mum and dad used to say, no, this is not good, this bit, you need to go out there, too near the edge. It was a bit edgy, wasn't it, on a Friday night? And I remember my mum used to tell me off because she'd say, Melissa, such and such is on the phone, stop giving out our number. And all of these companies were calling back. And I was getting all these amazing opportunities. So when The Word called and they said, are you free to come on Friday? Because we've got a slot on the show that's not been filled. And I found out it was actually LL Cool J, couldn't come over from the States, and Katie Puckrick and Terry Christian had decided to go with my indie band. It was like my indie demo where new artists got a platform to sing live on the show. Wow. And it was me and 3 of my friends, one person that could play amazing saxophone, which was Mark Kirby, who I believe is still doing that now. And they said, we'll send a car and we'll drive you to Limehouse Studios at Wembley. Great, okay. Didn't think about rehearsing, literally was more worried about what we'd look like, what we were wearing. And I remember going there and they said, you know, have you got a DAT tape, and how are some of you performing live? And then the penny dropped and I thought, live? Oh my God. And I realised the moment of what I hadn't thought about it, the excitement of getting there. And there was like a 300 strong audience with all of the cameras flying around. And they said, going down to the green room to get your makeup done, which was the bit I was looking forward to. And they said, you're on in 45 minutes. And I just remember my heart was in my mouth and these cameras were up there and under my nose and spinning around, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And George Kimpton Howe, who was involved with, I think it was Pinnacle Records at the time, saw me on the show, reached out and said, I've got a girl group, I'd love you to run a girl group called The Morgans. I was like, okay. And I literally went home and said, Mum, I'm in a girl group. And the next thing I knew, I was just touring and doing gigs every weekend for all the road shows, and had the time of my life, absolute time of my life.
So there was a gap between obviously all that happening, your music, you're singing, you're doing that, and then suddenly the publishing and the writing kind of exploded and took over. And now we're coming back full circle to you now writing for yourself and publishing your own music again. So it's kind of this roller coaster, isn't it, that you've been on from those early days?
Yeah, and what's been so amazing is all of these little component parts, all these little pieces of my journey are all reflective now in this part of the journey, because the people that I knew then have all kind of gone into different areas. They've kind of matured in their job roles of where they were kind of the junior in some of these big companies, and then they're now running the company, or they're the MD, or they're like, oh, come in and have a cup of tea, I know such and such, and we must go. And it's opened so many opportunities. It's been, I wouldn't change 1 second.
It's a lifetime's work so far, isn't it?
It has been a lifetime. But when I think of some people would have just to have achieved the opportunity of working with like Richard Park, for example, that was the best experience of my life in media, to learn from somebody in radio like that. I must reach out to him, because he most probably would laugh now and say, how the hell did you get on radio?
Now hold that thought, because that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So we're going to listen to another song. This is Simple. This was about 2 years ago. And tell us a little bit about this song, Melissa, because it reached 167,000 views on YouTube.
It was an absolute whirlwind. So Kevin Hughes and Paul Mosel were the original people that I kind of had the publishing with Peer Music right at the beginning. Hadn't spoken to Kevin Hughes in absolutely ages, because we'd been busy. I'd been a mum, I'd run the studio, so much going on. And then we crossed paths and he just said, we should work together again. And I said, that would be fantastic. And I literally drove up to where he lives, and he said, I've got this track. It was sung by another artist. He said, but we can change it, adapt it and whatever. So we basically sat down, worked on Simple, and within a kind of 4 to 5 week window, I just said, I'm going to get the video done, because I've always done my own videos. And it just was the absolute whirlwind. It happened so quickly, and Simple was released. Had the most amazing response in America. I'd literally touched down in Nashville as well. So that was just a dream come true. And it opened the door also with when I was doing my radio co-host from Chicago. So the whole American dream for me was just, I was like Bridget Jones. It was just absolutely clueless in America, going, oh my God. It was just everything that I'd wished for. So yeah, that was an amazing track to work on with such a fantastic producer as well.
Well, let's have a listen to Simple.
I've played so many games, trying to win by trying to change, trying to beat someone else wants me to be. I've cried, taken advice, broken some hearts so I could save mine. Thought I'd be safer running away, but this time I don't want to leave. When I'm with you, all those voices start to fade. All my defenses fall away. You make it simple. I wasn't impressed. I've given up on looking for someone. I guess you found me instead. When I'm with you, all those feelings start to fade. When all my doubts just fall away. You make it simple. You make it easy to breathe. All I have to be with you is me, and that's all we need. Just you make it simple. I don't know where you're from. It's like all my life been trying to find, and you came along. You make it simple. We were standing in a crowded room, and I could have to pick up anyone. I'm gonna pick you again, and again, and again. You make it simple. You make it easy to breathe. All I have to be with you is me, and that's all we need. Just you make it simple. I don't know where you're from. It's like all my life been trying to find, and you came along, and you make it simple. 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 And you make it
So, radio, Melissa.
Yes.
Your show goes out in is it live, or do you pre-record your show?
I pre-record, yeah. It goes
Okay.
out to 42 stations worldwide now. So the journey started as a co-host. So one of the radio stations in America reached me and said, would I do a transatlantic, literally Zoom link, to do a co-host for a radio show? And I said, what's the radio show? We haven't got the radio show yet. How would you see the connection? I was like thinking, what can we do? So we had a few meetings, and it was about the difference between dating in America and dating in the UK. So many differences. So car crash. It was just so much.
What a topic!
So many different things. Dating rules, how quickly women would like to have a ring on their finger in America. We are very much more laid back, the ladies in the UK, for definite. The 3-date dating rule, loads of funny things. So it was it was great music played around the car crash of relationships being discussed between man and female, obviously between America and the UK, and it worked so well. I think it's about 110 shows we ended up doing of that, but I think we covered so many areas. It got to the point that we were just going to exhaust it unless we went through the kind of the whole process of engagement, divorce, or married, kids, everything. It could have gone on forever, but we left it on a high, which was great. And I remember I felt really sad when that show ended, and the local radio station where I record, I went in and they were like, so what are you doing next? And I said, I don't really know. And they said, well, why don't you do your own show? I thought, oh, okay, I'll think about that. Why don't you come in tomorrow and record some things? And I'm thinking, tomorrow? And I literally went home that evening, and my brand has always been London Girl. And I thought, okay, obviously I've got London Girl Productions, my company. And I thought, Just a London Girl, that's exactly what I am, Just a London Girl. And Just a London Girl was born. And I reached out to a few people that carried my other show, and they were like, absolutely love it. And it just built and built. And yeah, I haven't looked back. I'm at just hit show 30. So, which I know is very early days for some people. Have thousands of shows out there.
2 awards as well. 30 shows and 2 awards already.
Yes. So the first one went for the first 110 shows, which was an Amira Award Independent, which I went to collect 2 weeks ago. Oh my God, standing up on it. And I've always looked at people on these big award ceremonies, and they get the piece of paper out and whatever, and you kind of go blank when somebody's got the cameras on you and the lights, and I was just like, oh my goodness. So I was so humbled by that. It was just so amazing to have that moment. I feel quite emotional going to get that award, and just to have that recognition. I think there is a small audience of females in this pool of industry with the radio side. So to fly that flag was just amazing. And then I found out that I'd also been put forward for an international award at the ISSA Awards, the International Singer-Songwriters Association in America, which I thought at first, no, can't, because there's so many fantastic people that have been nominated. Again, I was a bit like, wow, this is quite unbelievable. So I got shortlisted, and I thought, oh, will I get down to the finals? And there was 26 of us shortlisted, and then I got shortlisted to the last 13. And I just got a phone call a couple of days ago from my management company, Marlon Music, who have been helping me, because it's become a whirlwind. I've needed some extra help. And I was told that my tickets are booked for Atlanta, and I go in August. Wow. Just to be there, I have no expectancy, but just to be there is going to be amazing. And I am the only female from the UK for independent category there. So I'm
incredible.
I'm really, really chuffed. I really, really am. So I'm going to fly the flag for the UK there.
Well, it sounds like 2025 is going to be your year.
Oh, thank you.
So we're going to listen to another song now, just to give Melissa a little bit of a break. We're going to listen to Wine and Roses. Tell us a little bit about this one, Melissa.
Well, again, this was, Kevin Hughes, Paul Mosul. Wine and Roses basically was in a collection of songs that was going to be pitched for the first Bridget Jones movie. So we're going way back to 2000. And it was a bit later, it might have been 2004. And Working Title were potentially going to use a few independent artists on the soundtrack. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. I think the Gabrielles, the Robbie Williams, but that is how Dear Diary, Wine and Roses literally started the journey. So there was a kind of obviously kind of the girl next door, falling in love, heartbroken, the Dear Diary. That was where the journey started with this. So but I've always loved the Wine and Roses track. I've always loved Madonna, and I can hear a Madonna tone to my vocal in there, that real kind of American kind of edge, but it's still got that kind of English pop feel to it as well.
It has indeed. So let's have a listen to Wine and Roses now, and we'll be back in a second.
Carry on, cross my heart, and hope to love again like I did before. Close my eyes, wish for something more. I'm looking for a world of wine and roses, somewhere special just for me. I'm looking for someone who will wine and dine me. I told you this before. I want more. I want someone to watch over me, shower me with flowers, comment on my hair, fill a room with candles, take me by the hand, listen to my problems, say you'll understand. Cross my heart and hope to love again like I did before. Close my eyes, wish for something more. I'm looking for a world of wine and roses, somewhere special
It's exhausting, really, Melissa, listening to all of your in such a short space of time. But actually, it's many years that you've been building block by block by block, and taking the opportunities when they've come to you, rather than sort of backing off from them all. You've just gone, well, yes, all right, let's have a go. And that's the key, isn't it, for most artists, is never be afraid to dip your toe into a water, because the ripples will go somewhere.
Absolutely, they will. And I think just be brave as well. Sometimes be out of your comfort zone, because sometimes you surprise yourself. I worked on a track with Thomas Kavanagh, who is a Nashville, UK artist, and we did a great track together. Again, something that was a little bit out of the norm to what I would normally do, but one of my favourite tracks as well. So you need to kind of, just have a little bit of confidence with it and just kind of do your thing. I think it can open so many doors.
What's your wish list for 2025? My
wish list, I think, in honesty, is to get my band live, which they went into the studio last week. Right. So I'm going to be hooking up with them, not next week, the week after. So all of my songs have been broken into sections, pieces, and they're doing their thing. So to hear that live, I think I'm going to have a bit of an emotional outburst, because that is going to be the ultimate. And it's something, you do singles, but then sometimes everyone keeps saying, when are you going to be live? But you're so focused on the single and what's the next single, is trying to do everything. And then people are saying, where can we get tickets? Can we come and see you live? So I've had a few agents and a few other people reach out saying, we'd love to support and get you live. That would be a massive thing off my wish list of life, I think, not just 2025, something I've always wanted to do.
Where did you get your band from? How did you pull them all together?
So I work with a wonderful producer, and he basically has an in-house band. He does lots of big shows, but he was very selective about the team, and he's just said to me, it's got to work based on your sound, how they execute, how they take the kind of the sections of the music, how they kind of envisage this going live. So whilst we're having this interview at this very moment, they are literally in the studio doing their thing, and I'm going to have a little bit of a kind of a listen of what they're up to. So I've heard one little bit, and I nearly did have an emotional outburst. I was just so, oh my God. So yeah, that's going to be
Don't wobble good. When you get up there to sing, thinking, oh my goodness. Because it's not only it's you, but it's also the band are interpreting your creativity, aren't they? And they've got to get it right, because it's your song.
And those songs, especially over a lifetime, that has been such an emotional journey for me. That definitely was one of those Adele moments, as I've said a few times. Life was not great. Life turned upside down on me, and I went on the biggest journey. And it was a song that literally, honestly, it was kind of a therapy session of writing it down on paper. And I never thought that those words would resonate into a song. I don't know why. Maybe it was personal. Maybe it's been a brave thing for me to expose that part of that journey, because I'm a very private person.
How on earth did you have time to direct and film a video as well as everything else that you're doing?
Do you know what? I just managed to I found a fantastic director. His name is Francois Fumet, just an absolute wonderful soul. And he just said, let me know what you want. He said, but you need to find the venue. And the venue found me. Somebody I was working with had mentioned that somebody had funded, through the lottery fund, £9 million to a church that literally crumbled to the ground, a Victorian church over on the Isle of Sheppey. Absolutely stunning. And I was one of the first artists to go there since they've done the refurb of everything, and literally painstakingly every stone had been put back up. And It's a bit like my life of what I've gone through. It was very poignant to the song, like everything came crumbling down and rebuilding again, and having that moment in that church, it was just magical. And the kind of the acoustics in there,
I bet were wonderful.
Goosebumps. And that's when I turned around and I said to the video director, I said, I've got to get this song live, because what happened was a few other people were working there, and then it was like 2 people watching, 3 people watching. By the end of the song, there was like a little congregation of about 25 people that shouldn't have been there in the background going, oh, I really like it. When's the single coming out? So yeah, it was great. Really, really great.
You touched on earlier about being a mum.
Yes, I am a mum.
Do you have 1 or 2 children?
No, I have one child. Yes, I have one child. I have a son, and he's just amazing and a great support for my music. So cool, because the other day we were in the car together and he had some dance tracks on, which I knew all the lyrics, and he's like looking at me. What are you doing, Mum? How do you know these songs? This song was out when I was your age. No, it wasn't. I'm trying to be a cool mum at the moment, but yeah.
But being a mum and juggling mum and school and all the things that they need as well as your own career, I bet you felt a bit like Bridget Jones in the last movie.
I have. There has been moments. I remember I started a recording business, and I remember just having my son, and the washing machine had blown up, and I had somebody from Dubai who was a very important person, who was flying in some princesses to come and record at the recording studio where I was, because we started doing experience days. And that was a sideline to the stability of thinking out of the box. I want to record. How do I record? How do I fund it? It's not going to be given to me. And I did it with Red Letter Days, and it really took off. And so much so that so many other people copied that it had a shelf life. It was two years of just absolute fun around recording, shows, all the things I was doing. And that day when the washing machine blew up and I'm standing there with son in hand and phone and trying to take one of those card payments, I just thought, this is Bridget Jones. It is Bridget Jones. My life in the music industry is Bridget Jones. And that is very interesting you mentioned that, because it does have a very good connection with the drama comedy that I've been working on for the last 8 years. It has got elements, semi-autobiographical, all to be revealed. But yeah, have you been reading something without me knowing?
No, I just have a very good instinct. And when you talked about a child, you're a mum, and I kind of thought, well, goodness only knows how you're juggling all of these things that are happening.
Yeah. I remember going out once doing an event and whatever, and literally like child is sick outfit going out the door, and you're just like, oh my god. And then you get in the car, no petrol, then you've got to get somewhere. You're like, I don't know why we put ourselves through it, but when you love something, and I love my career so much, it's just something that I don't think anything could really stop me. I'm a bit like, even if Indiana Jones boulder came down the hill, it's like, I'll get past it. Very tenacious, I'll dart it.
Yeah,
I'm not going off the hill.
You don't see obstacles, you just jump over them. Yeah.
Over them. Yeah, and even when the world or upstairs, whatever anyone's beliefs is from a higher force or whatever, I had the horse riding accident in 2020. That was broken back, broken arm, and I was in such a mess. And 6 months, literally the worst thing that could ever happen to me, 6 months of not being able to move. I literally was bedridden. And that really was the turning point where I thought, I need to get my band together. I need to get my songs out. I don't care about age, this, that. So many people in this industry, once you're past 25, 30, you're too old, you need to do this. And I thought, I'm not listening to anyone.
Good.
I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it for other women. All of these people that are on X Factor that have dreams. There are some amazing talents out there, and they're singing in their bedrooms, in the shower, in the kitchen doing the dinner. Why can't you have a platform? There's every resource out there.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be literally at the care home and I'm going to be entertaining. I am never giving in. Never. I love it too much.
No, don't you dare. I mean, I talked to Billy J. Kramer, who's 80 something now. And I said to him about this ageism things, and actually I think what you touched on earlier about sometimes you've got to have some life experiences. I mean, there are some amazing young singers. We met a few when we did the Shamrocks Festival, 15 years old, up there on stage, singing her heart out, writing her own songs like you did at your age, at 14, 15. But equally, there's maturity. Cliff Richard is still writing songs, Mick Jagger, they're all of a certain age where the industry would normally, but they've earned their longevity because they've laboured, and it isn't like labour. It's not like work. When you love something, it becomes a passion, and it no longer ceases to be work. It's something you enjoy. So you find ways of doing it, don't you?
Yeah, and I laugh when I look back at some of my songs when I was 16. It's like I'm trying to write like a 35-year-old that's gone through the life's turmoils. And I hadn't lived it or whatever. And some of the lyrics I'm thinking, doesn't actually make sense. But it's just the journey you go on when you're writing things. But now I've like been there, got the t-shirt, I can do the merchandise line, I've lived it.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Do you ever think sometimes if I write a song, it could be karma could come and get me? Do I need to be careful what I write?
Yeah, I do. I think sometimes in life there are things that are universal tracks, and they are everyday scenarios that we go through. I think if you start kind of detailing the person, or you start talking about eye colour, this, that, nationality, all of those things, you're going to get in trouble, But I think the journey, the beauty, and the other thing is, a lot of people, I think, may listen to songs and think, that song's about me. I have had that a few times with things, and I said, actually, it's not about you at all. It's about some. Oh, right, okay. It's just like that song, You're So Vain. You probably think the song is about you. It's just like, but it's not. It's not about you. And it's how a story is to how someone else reads the story, and how the adaptation is, because it's like Chinese whispers.
Yes.
So I think every song can be interpreted very differently dependent on the moment, and only I know what it's about, really, but then everyone else can make their own judgment, opinions and whatever. So that's a good fun part of being a writer.
Yeah, we've got two things in the pipeline to come from you. One is live performances, and the other is this TV show. Do we know when? Well,
I'm going to be really greedy and say there's actually 2 TV shows at the moment. So number 1 is the comedy drama. Everything's done. The pilot's done. We've got some fantastic celebrities that are actually involved and have been filmed for it. It obviously was kind of taken off just before COVID, and it has only been really, I'd say, the last 6-7 months it's kind of come back to life. The industry was just turned so upside down, and I think people are getting funding back.
Yes.
I think we're getting a little bit of our sanity back. There's been so much that we've gone through as human beings on planet Earth, so that's a definite. The other side was something I've been very passionate about doing, something connected with my radio show for TV. A bit of an expansion of something that I've had as an idea for a long time. It is kind of partly going to be, it's an invested kind of project from myself and a kind of a group of people, and it's something that we're hoping to pilot in September time. So if that all starts to work out, that's going to be very exciting, because of not only will that open platforms for existing artists, celebrities that are out there, it will give a great platform to new independent artists as well, which is what I'm all about. I think so many amazing iconic venues are closing down.
Yes.
There's a restriction on so many artists that can perform at certain shows, the wait lists are long. I think anything that can get new talent out there, no matter what age, whatever skill, if you need a platform, then you can find that. I think that's really important. That's one thing I'd love to be able to do. If money was no object where you could wake up every day, I would just love to do that and literally just nurture as much talent and just find as many platforms as possible and just get the whole world to be happy and sing. That would be nice, wouldn't it? A really happy.
It would be nice. And when you think about what Jeremy Clarkson's done for farmers, how much he's with his shows, he's opened up this whole world and put the spotlight on. I've learned an awful lot about farmers from watching that, and I think that's what artists do. They learn from each other, don't they?
They do, and I think there's just so many sides to this industry. Lots of people are very guarded with their contacts. A lot of people are there can be jealousy, there can be all of these things. But at the end of the day, there's enough room for everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody should nurture and support. And there are some people that I've met recently, which I've never really had the real privilege, really. The management team I'm working with at the moment, a lady called Ronnie, who looks after me, she's just incredible. She's like a dot connector. And the respect that she has within the industry, and how I've learned values of different things, of how she does day-to-day things, has given me a different way of life thinking, of how I approach things, how I support things, and organise myself as well. And I think it's so important. I think we waste so much time on things that we shouldn't worry about, and just put all of that energy into the positive things.
Yeah. And I like that phrase, dot connector. I like that phrase. I'm going to adopt that phrase, the dot connector.
Yeah, the dot connector. and there is no gain. It's not about money. It's not about, you know, power. It literally is about, you would really do well talking to that person. Oh, okay, right. I don't want anything. You do this, you do. And I think that's the beauty, when people can literally open a book of life experiences and contacts and say, I'm going to nurture, I'm going to support you. And I think there are some people here that will open doors. Yeah. And literally in the last 3 or 4 months since going on that journey, it's been life-changing, because it's like having, when people have, I don't know, like a guide, a support, a teacher, somebody. I didn't think I needed that at the age that I am and where I'm going in life, but all of a sudden it's opened my eyes wide to thinking, well, I could give that back, or I could support that, or okay, what about if I invested in that and helped somebody to do that, and taking time out of my day, even though I'm crazy busy. Yeah. I had 2 or 3 artists come forward, and I don't want them to make the mistakes that I've made.
No.
Even though it's part of the journey, try and avoid that, and then put it into positive things. You're going to have bumps, but just try and protect yourself in certain ways. And it's an industry you do have to protect yourself.
I think you do. And one of the things that you perhaps might not have even thought about yet is that you're leaving a lasting legacy for your son. Because he can look, my mum did that, or if my mum says she can, she does, and she will. And so you're giving him, you're leading by an example that you might not have even thought that you were doing, because you do it automatically.
I think it's the first time I actually got, he's gonna tell me off for this now if he watches the interview. He's gonna go, oh mum, you didn't say that. But obviously kind of getting Mother's Day cards and kind of that acceptance and things. He turned around to me recently, just out of the blue, went, I'm really proud of you, Mum. That's all you want as a parent, don't you? To say, I'm proud. And the journey there's been bumps. There's been times when I thought, oh God, I'm a bad mum. Why did I do that, or whatever? But having that moment deletes all of those other moments, because you capture that moment and you think, right, I'm doing a good job. And I think if you can get out of bed, be a good soul in the morning, know that you've done some good, even if you have had a whinge. We can't always be happy, you know, we're only human at the end of the day. But it's just, nurturing, supporting and lifting others. I think that is a real...
Catch that moment in the hand, pop it in a bottle for later on. You never know when you might need it. When you have a moment of self-doubt, which I'm sure you do, everybody does. When you have that moment, what am I doing? Am I being completely mad here? I'm just rushed off my feet, you know. In those moments, you catch that moment again and you go, that's why I'm doing it.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. And I think that for me, take away money, take away fame, take away all the materialisms and things. If you can feel happy within your soul when you open your eyes in the morning, know that you're a good person, that you love what you're doing, and that you're supporting, you've got great family, friends and things like that. It doesn't matter how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, some people have small units around them, but if you know that you're kind of loved and cherished, then you're doing the right thing, aren't you, at the end of the day? It's what it's all about.
It's all about. It's the only thing that keeps us sane, I think. Is have your feet on the ground. Now, we're going to play out to Dear Diary. Yes. So a question on, if you had to make a diary entry today, what would your diary entry be for today?
Oh my goodness, today would just be, I've had a blessed day. I've had a really blessed day today. And I think even more blessed because the realisation of where this journey is now going. It's been heartache, it's been turbulent, it's been a journey of self-discovery, but I feel where I've landed today, waking up and what's ahead, I'm thinking I'm happy in the shoes I'm in. So.
Good. Melissa, if anybody wants to find out more about you, we know they can go onto Facebook, and we know you've got a Linktree account. Is that the best place to go to find all your bits and bobs?
Yeah, Linktree's got everything. MelissaWhitehouse.com is my main website. Instagram and Facebook are quite new to me over the last few years. I've just started to kind of come back alive on there. So that's just Melissa_Whitehouse. X, I've got my lovely kind of army there on X. It's Music Melissa. You can find me on there. So there's no excuse. I'm everywhere.
She's everywhere, and she's going to be everywhere. We've got lots of things to look forward to. Will you keep us updated, Melissa? I would love to know when you're going to be singing live, and if I can get to you, then I will do.
Be there, definitely.
I would love to be there. Yeah, and also the TV shows.
I might be a bit emotional.
I'll bring tissues.
Tissues are good.
I don't mind being the runner. I'll be the runner and just make sure that you're up there.
And a few glasses of fizz, a few glasses of fizz and some tissue. We'll be fine.
You can have that afterwards, not before. You can have it afterwards.
We don't want too much emotion, no.
No. Well, listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for taking time out with us today, and also I hope the band are getting on okay. You're going to pop in and see how they're doing?
Well, I'm not going to scare them. I'm going to give them the peace that they've told me to stay away until not next week, the week after. So they're deep in kind of transition with what they're doing. So I will reach out and give them a little call.
Well,
what are you up to?
Well, yeah. I'll say for them, she's watching you. She's going to be listening.
I know. It's a bit like what was that film when he's always watching, isn't it? The I can't think what that film's called. It's one of those funny films where he's always watching what they're up to. So so fingers crossed.
I'm sure they're going to do you proud, and I'm sure you're going to be absolutely wonderful. I can't wait to hear your voice live, because I'm listening and watching the YouTube videos are absolutely stunning. Well done you, and well done on your radio and all of the awards that you've won recently as well. What a great start to 2025, and long may it continue. Yeah,
absolutely. And can I say thank you for what you do as well, because without you we just don't get that profile to kind of reach all of the wonderful listeners out there. So thank you so much for what you do too.
You're very welcome. That's what we're here for. A bit like you, you're doing the same thing, up there on your radio show too. It's what we do. It's what we love. And as you say, there's so many talented people who don't get that opportunity to have their work heard. It just gets drowned out. But every little helps. I don't want to say the supermarket chain that says that, but
But if there is anybody out there, obviously, because I do have the platform on my radio show, Music Melissa, any independent artist, if you want to have your single or you've got a track to be reviewed, do send it in.
Where do they send it to, Melissa? How can they get it to you?
Literally, so Janice Newton is the reviewer who works for the London Girl team. She's on all of the socials, so just look for Janice Newton. But if you literally go on to X and then go on to Music Melissa, and literally somebody at the office will pick up from your message, so you can literally reach us there. And anybody that kind of has got a single out and would like it reviewed, wants it shared, it's got a worldwide reach. So there's quite a few artists we've had come through.
Excellent. And of course your show goes out worldwide, doesn't it? So it means it will get shared worldwide too.
It does, which is great. And it's really built in the States as well, so it's getting stronger out in the States. And more stations are coming forward, but again, it's only just been me, so I'm just trying to
do it all
and spin all the plates. So it's like being a circus performer, isn't it? Gosh. So but all good. All
a juggler.
Juggling lots and lots.
Well, we're going to play out now to Dear Diary, and I think we talked on about it. And your diary entry for today is just be. Just be. Let everybody else do whatever you just be.
Yeah, and just in my happy space.
In your happy space, Well, lots of luck, Melissa. As I say, we'll touch base again, I'm quite sure, with all the projects that you're doing, and I'll keep my eyes on you.
Yes, what you do? Wasn't it the Millers or something? There's something. It was. There is.
That's going to bug us both now. We're both going to.
We're going to have to get answers on a postcard. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been so lovely to talk to you.
You're very welcome. That was the wonderful Malissa Whitehouse there, International DJ Podcaster of the Year.
Trusting